Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Baker, the Illustrated Guide, the Baker Illustrated Guide to the Bible. Okay. Also, we want to look at and remember as we go through this curriculum, the My Father's World curriculum stuff, that subject material will overlap. So today we're going to talk about some Bible stuff, but it's also going to include some literature and English things as well. And so we just need to remember that. So just keep in mind those things as we go through that even though we may be talking about one thing, it will incorporate other subjects as we go through all the different material. But first of all, this is a great book. It's going to help us as we go through the year and we go through different as we read different books of the Bible. It'll give us a little highlight for each book, kind of tell us a little synopsis, the interesting features, major points, settings, etc. It's a really good tool for not only now, but for hold on to it. You could use it the rest of your life. Really, it's a great resource. But to start with, I'm just going to read the first paragraph on page 7. It says, "Everyone has a story to live by. For Christians, two questions arise regarding this story. Which story tells the true story about God, our world, and life? And does my story line up with the true story? What constitutes a basic storyline is much the same in novels, TV shows, movies, and plays. Typically, the story opens with things going well. The characters are introduced and we are given essential background information. Everything is good, or at least stable, at the start. But then a problem or crisis threatens the characters and their future. Much of the story is taken up with solving this problem, conflict resolution. Usually during this period of resolution, the tensions build to a critical point, the climax, and the heart of the problem is solved. Finally, and though this may take a while, the resolution is worked out so that things are not just good, but great. When there is no happy ending, the story is called a tragedy." Okay? And there's a few different things. So parts of the story, okay? Specifically literature-wise, we have the opening, the problem, the resolution, the climax, and the closing. And that's when we start writing and doing different things this semester, this year, then those are things you need to make sure you have in your writings as well. The opening, the problem, the resolution, the climax, and the closing. Now, if we want to apply that to the Bible, we have the opening in Genesis 1 and 2. We have the problem from Genesis 3 to 11. We have the resolution from Genesis 12 all the way to the end in Revelation 18. The climax is the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. And then lastly, the closing is Revelations 19 to 22. Okay? And we call it the Bible story, but we also need to remember it's truth. And so sometimes people get caught up in it's a story, and fail to realize and remember it's the truth. But we will talk about it as a story. And the Baker Illustrated book breaks down the story, and I really kind of like the way they did this with, K sounds. A bunch of different words for K sounds. And I'm not going to go into all the details with it for you. That's what the book's for. You can read it, look into it. But I do want to just hit what they are, okay? So the very first one is creation. Okay? The Bible starts with the creation. That's the opening, right? So then we go creation, crisis, covenant, calling out, commandments, conquest, kingdom, the kingdom divided, captivity, coming home, Christ, the church, consummation. Okay? And so, like I said, those are in the book. I want you to go ahead and look those up, read about those. We can talk about that at a later time. This is really just an introduction to the Baker Illustrated Guide to the Bible. And so we can look more into that. Lastly, the book breaks down the Bible into an organization. Most things we already know, right? Old Testament, New Testament. That's a very simple breakdown of the Bible. But the Old Testament has 5 different sections. It's the Pentateuch, the historical books, Psalms, wisdom books, and prophets. And then the New Testament also has 5 breakdowns: the Gospels, Acts, letters of Paul, general letters, and Revelation. Okay, like I said, this is real quick, 5 minutes or so introduction to the book. I want us to just make sure we're aware that it's a very good resource. We're going to be using it a lot this year. Every time we start a new book of the Bible that we're reading, we will go over some of the very beginning stuff, the setting and things that the book tells us, give us kind of an idea of where the story's at and where we're going from there, and kind of keep us in the right mindset for the historical mindset as we go through ancient history and different things. So if you have any questions, let me know. We can either email me or we'll get on live sometime and talk about it, but I appreciate it. Thanks.